Good evening. You probably usually see me in the warehouse at Seabase selling you these bits of foam. Obviously it's pretty grim out there, guys, and we're all locked in and we can't even surf that easily. So a lot of you are wanting to make surfboards. The joy of this is that, yeah, ideally you have a shaping bay, lights, etc., but you don't have to. You can persevere and make these in your garage, as I'm doing for you guys today, with very simple tools. A shore form, a stringer plane, sandpaper and a block. This is a handy tool. You can make yourself one of these. You'll see why in a minute. 2 bits of foam, stick them together, offcuts off this template, drill holes in them at inch intervals, stick a pencil in. You've got a lovely sort of marking tool. So today we're going to put in a basic rail band, okay? Rails, obviously very important to a surfboard. It dictates how it turns, how it glides, all the rest of it. There's not too many shapes, but obviously what we're going to do today, the first thing we should do is find a centre point on this and mark ourselves a line. Yeah, this is just a great reference point. Tells us where the middle of that board is, or where the middle of that rail is. Now, I've already put a similar process to what we're about to do on the bottom. I've put the bottom rail in. Generally, a lot of these boards are going to have what's called a 60-40 rail. This means if these 2 points met here, essentially that would be a 50-50 rail. You've got 50% that side, 50% that side. The majority of the boards that we're looking at, and especially for this sort of mid-length, it's going to be a 60-40 rail. Now I've already put in the rail underneath, so this middle point, as was, is no longer relevant. It's actually not the middle point. What is important though, and remember this, is that you need to leave a good 3/4 of an inch to an inch flat section here. If you don't, and you bring the rail to that point and the rail to that point, you will have a rail that's like a triangle. It will be hideous, and that's a very easy thing to do and make that mistake, because then you try and shape it out and you've just got a wedge of cheese. It's hideous. So this bottom shape, this rail's already in. I've put the rail bands in here. So I'm going to measure up from there, and I'm going to put in about an inch mark here, okay? We could maybe drop it a little bit because I kind of like knifey rails. And now you see this point here, if we can draw essentially a line, so that's always, this section here has got an inch. You don't have to be Picasso with this, but if you can kind of roughly see that, this is going to be a useful, see it blends here, so we're not that interested in where it goes there. But this part, this is where we're going to draw our rail band to. And that, as I said again, leaves us this square edge. Ends up with you not getting, you know, sort of cheesecake or wedge of cheese style rails. And then that's obviously, we're going to blend this in as well. So what we've left with is, ideally, when we take this rail down, we've still got a good inch band here, a square inch of the rail, which, as you'll see, when we blend it, will make all the difference. So you see we've got about an inch left on that rail there, yeah? You see this line here? So this area here now is 1 inch, all right? This is so we don't get a very tight radius on our rail. So when we blend this down, when we pull this down and then we blend it, then we'll have nice shaped rails, you know? You can pinch them a little bit as you go, but if you took your rails down to here, i.e. this to this, this to this, you'll end up with a triangle that nobody wants. Okay, this is when this little tool that you made from your offcuts, when you templated the ball, this right angle with the holes and the pencil in, this is when the use of it become apparent. We're going to draw a 4-inch line. Okay, that's going to give us a nice shaped rail for this mid-length. Okay, so we're going to hold it like this. It's going to be wobbly. This is a very rough guide, but this isn't the professional method for shaping boards, as you've kind of gathered already. This is just showing you that you can do this in your garage. Again, obviously this section's going to blend off. It doesn't really matter about that. Same this side. As you can see, the camera pans up a bit. We've now got 4-inch band. And this is basically going to be your rail band. Anything with a bit of weight helps. It stops this moving around on your dodgy makeshift shaping stands. Far easier with proper shaping stands. But you can do it with trestles. The straighter the better, because everything is literally about lines. And remember, these rails you're going to fill. So this gives you a very basic guideline to work to. So what we're going to do, we've got Sureform. They're like cheese graters on steroids. They're it's like a planer, but obviously with a completely different sort of serrated. You pick these up anywhere. Boot sales, yard sales, brocantes, whatever you want to call them. They're absolutely so useful. You can shape a whole board with it. This is a little yellow plastic one. It's very handy for putting these in. So what we're going to do is basically we're going to go from this to this line here. Yeah. And that will be our rail band. So you're going to take this. I'm not putting it all the way in here yet. I'm going to start about 18 inches, 2 feet down, because we're going to blend that. The rail, the important part of the rail is this section here. You take this and you literally carving yourself an angle. Again, you can come off the towel there because we're going to blend that. The idea is you pull that down to there. With a Sureform, you can see the band. You will actually see a line and an angle starting to form. If you're good with an electric planer, if you have access to one, obviously you can put these rail bands in seconds with an electric planer. However, it's also very easy to go very quickly very wrong and end up with Rizzler style rails. Again, this just slows the whole process down. And all you're doing is basically putting a bevel into the blank here. So it takes a while like this, but watch it as you go. Keep your eye on that line there where you want to go to that section there, and gradually work your way down. You can start coming up here just so that it keeps that whole movement, a flowing movement, you know. You don't want to particularly work on one part because you'll end up with bumps and with dips. Keep your surfboard flat, keep walking backwards and forwards. Cross step, ideally, rather than shuffle, because it will make for a smoother, continuous sort of jog of this, as it were. If you can see now, the camera will show you, we've now got, up until that 4-inch mark, a beveled edge, which is quite visible. You know, you can see it with these, you can literally go sideways and it's going to keep it flat the whole way. But with everything, use your hands, feel the rail all the time. You'll notice I've gone a little bit higher than the line I'd drawn, just because it started to feel quite nice, and I thought by the time I take these edges off, it's probably going to be close. Always look down the board. That's what shaping lights are for. We haven't got any, but you can see bumps and wobbles and high spots. Use your block, hold it flat, walk it down that rail, just get a lovely bevel. With here, obviously you can just blend it out. Look at it again there, see where it kind of flows there, and just work on it gradually, you know. So the essential part of the beveled area is this area here. That's pretty much it. Obviously measure this, mark the other side so you get it right, and then again take down this area like this all the way, blend it into the nose, stand back, look at this line. Hopefully it will foil, you know, it'll be quite smooth. And now, and probably the most fun bit, is going from this kind of boxy square edge thing to a nice soft rail that you'd have on your normal surfboard. And you do it by using some of this stuff, which is basically a fine, well, an 80 grit mesh. They come in 80, 120. They last for years. This is kind of newish, but they get softer and softer, so you'll hang on to it. The softer it gets, it becomes like a comfort rag. And this is where the magic really is. And you hold it like this, you take these sharp edges, you pull it onto there, and you literally just drag back and it cuts. And if your camera kind of gets closer, you'll see it's taking this edge off straight away. If I do it again, and the camera gets a bit closer, and you see it literally taking that edge down. It's going from a square edge to a round edge. And we can really start to put a curve in that rail now. And then we'll go back and look at it. You know, you can start to see it look like a rail. Obviously we want this curve to drop a bit more. So we're going to keep doing this. We're going to come back, hold it flat there, and then we can pull it into the edge more as we work down that rail and come off, because we're having that hard edge again. We've got a bit to go. It's still quite chunky there. I've got to blend this in a bit more. And that's it. There's probably better ways to do it. You know, if you don't know where you even start with this is a very good starting point. Measure, look at it a lot, and also pick it up a lot. You know, just hold it here where you're going to paddle, where you're going to pop up, and feel how those rails feel. Not too many wobbles ideally, and that's it. Okay.